Hey everybody, this is a clip from the latest episode.
Mary had a little man. The fall.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
On the issue of Russia and bounties. If there's ever a scenario in which Russia puts a bounty on U.S. troops, how would you respond?
First of all, they'd hear about it, but we never heard about it because intelligence never found it to be of that level where it would rise to that. When you bring something into a president, and I see many, many things, and I'm sure I don't see many things that they don't think rose to the occasion. This didn't rise to the occasion.
Oh my
and
God.
From what I hear, and I hear it pretty good, the intelligence people many of them didn't believe it happened at all. I think it's a hoax. I think it's a hoax by the newspapers and the Democrats.
So based on what you've been briefed, do you think it is?
I agree with the intelligence people. I think, frankly, that many of the intelligence people didn't think it was something that even happened. And if it did happen, the Russians would hear about it, and anybody else would hear about it that was involved. There's never been anybody so strong, so good to our military. I've spent more money. We have a brand new, beautiful military. When I took over, it was depleted. It was a mess. And the greatest asset we have in our military is our men and women, our soldiers, our sailors, all of the people in our military. And I'm here to protect them. But this was something that never got presented to me, and they know that, never got presented because it didn't rise to that level.
Okay, all of that is a lie. Every syllable in that is a lie. Today, we found out that there were actual wire transfers between the GRU, the Russian intelligence agencies, and the Taliban, and that he was, you know who briefed him? John Bolton briefed Donald Trump. John Bolton was the national security advisor, and he knows that he briefed Donald Trump. I believe that John Bolton is one of the sources for these stories, okay? And that John Bolton is probably putting guys like, Charlie Savage, who writes for the New York Times, onto the trail of the wire transfers. And the wire transfers have been discovered. And money did get transferred. $500,000 got transferred from the Russian intelligence agency, the GRU. This is the same ridiculous unit that, killed Skripal by trying to poison. It's a clumsy, unbelievable operation that everything they do, they get caught. I mean, interfering in our elections. It was the same, intelligence outfit, right? But they actually seized $500,000 from the home of a Taliban fighter in a raid that the United States actually did. Obviously, the British were briefed on this. Obviously, a principals meeting in the White House was called on this. Obviously, it was in the presidential daily briefing back in February. Obviously, John Bolton, the national security advisor, then briefed the president personally. We know the names of the soldiers who have been killed now. We know it was in The Wire. The Wire is, I never even, a couple days ago we learned about The Wire. The Wire is it's called the World Intelligence Review, and it's a document, it's a set of documents that go to the broader intelligence community. And we know it was in The Wire, according to several officials. We know 2 officials have said that it was in the presidential daily briefing. And we know that 6 months ago, when we did a raid in Kunduz in northern Afghanistan, 6 months ago, and arrested 13 people, it was a joint operation by American forces and Afghan forces. We found $500,000 in cash in a Taliban household. And now we have the wire transfer information.
What is the dysfunction if they have to? Here's the problem with the White House response. Either they shield him from any credible leads. And as you said, this was credible enough that we alerted the British. They convened a deputies, and it sounds like a principals meeting in the West Wing of the White House. And the New York Times is reporting they ran the money down. They already found the money. That's usually the end of the investigation. So it would suggest that the CIA, the Pentagon, the State Department, if the British have been alerted, and maybe in the FBI, Adam Goldman just said they're investigating it like a crime. They all know, and either the president can't handle the truth, or he knew and was still courting Vladimir Putin. What does that say about Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin?
It's actually inexplicable. I don't think the Russians can believe their eyes and ears, that they've got somebody acting to further their interests, embracing them in public, attacking their European Union, NATO adversaries for them. It's simply astonishing. It's not to be understood. 20 years from now, the Russians, by the way, when he's out of office, the Russians will out him, and they'll say, here's how we were able to influence Trump. But for now, what we've got on the face of it is someone who refuses to confront Russian adversarial efforts, which include killing our troops.
Oh, God.
So we got a problem. Congress's oversight function, where were they? What did Secretary Esper tell the CENTCOM commander? Why didn't the CIA run their own covert operation to bag some of these Russians in Afghanistan? Why didn't we jam the bank accounts?
Right.
These people bear a heavy responsibility. Our national security process is broken.
General Barry McCaffrey, everybody. Our national security process is broken. He broke it because the intelligence community literally knows about this GRU unit. They have always known that they interfered in our election. That is what the Mueller report said, and that Donald Trump welcomed their interference, welcomed it. Roger Stone's got a report to jail. He was the liaison, the link between the hacked documents that went to WikiLeaks and the Trump campaign. He was the intermediary. He lied about it to Congress. He lied about it to the court. He threatened the judge. 7 felonies Roger Stone committed for this president. Yes, there are wire transfers. This is a known thing now. Okay, it's known.
There's more information on this even this morning. The money trail linked to a suspected Russian bounties plot targeting U.S. troops in Afghanistan. The New York Times reporting that American officials intercepted electronic data showing large financial transfers from a bank account controlled by Russia's military intelligence agency, the GRU, to a Taliban-linked account. That's according to 3 officials familiar with that intelligence. The Times also notes investigators identified the names of a number of Afghans in a network linked to the operation, including a man believed to have served as an intermediary for the distribution of that money. Afghan officials also confirmed over the past 6 months they have arrested several businessmen suspected of being part of a ring of middlemen who operated between the Russian intelligence agency and Taliban-linked militants.
I mean, we know everything except the actual wire transfer number. Do you know what I'm saying? And they probably know that too. So these intercepts that were picked up in February, and they were picked up by detainees that we interrogated, okay? And these detainees tipped us off to the fact that the GRU, the Russian military intelligence unit, was sending money to Taliban, to a Taliban-linked account, and that people were getting paid to kill Americans. That's what the detainees told us when we captured them. Now, Donald Trump has said, oh, you can't believe the detainee. But so that means that you were told about that portion of it? Is that what that means? Okay. But now the wire transfers that they said were happening have been discovered. So I guess they weren't lying. I guess it was true. See, torture doesn't work, but, you know, building the rapport, that kind of interrogation, asking them questions, right? It works. And so the information has been corroborated. It checked out. The sequence of events that the detainees told us about, we now can see happen. Hey, everybody. This is a clip from the latest episode